On a quiet July night in 1969, millions of people watched their screens. A small spacecraft hung above the moon, its fuel almost gone. Inside, one man took control, guiding it down with steady hands and a calm voice. A few minutes later, he placed his foot on the lunar dust, and humanity stepped onto another world for the first time. This is the story of Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong was born on August 5, 1930, in the small town of Wapakoneta, Ohio. He was a quiet child, but the sky pulled him in from the start. At 2 years old, he went to an air show. At 6, he took his first airplane ride. And at 16, before he even had a car license, he became a licensed pilot. Neil spent nights looking at the stars through a telescope, wondering what waited beyond Earth. No one knew it yet, but the boy who loved flying would one day leave the planet. Neil studied aeronautical engineering, but his path changed when the US Navy called him to serve. He trained as a jet pilot and soon flew missions during the Korean War. One day, enemy fire tore parts of his wing. Neil kept calm, guided the aircraft away from danger, and safely ejected. It was a moment that showed his steady mind, a skill that would save lives later. After the war, he returned to finish his studies, ready to fly again, but this time in a new direction. Neil became a test pilot, one of the most dangerous jobs in aviation. He flew more than 200 aircrafts, from jets to rocket-powered planes. At Edwards Air Force Base, he tested the legendary X-15, which soared close to space and reached incredible speeds. Each flight carried risk, but Neil was calm, detailed, and precise, the kind of pilot who could handle the unknown. These flights prepared him for the place no test pilot had ever reached before: the moon. In 1962, NASA selected Neil Armstrong as an astronaut. He trained for missions that had no history and no guidebook. In 1966, he commanded the Gemini 8 mission. After performing the first docking in space, a thruster malfunction sent the spacecraft spinning out of control. Neil acted instantly, shutting down the problem and making an emergency landing. His quick decisions saved the mission and the crew. NASA saw what he saw capable of and chose him to command Apollo 11. In July 1969, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins traveled more than 380,000 kilometers to the moon. During the landing, alarms sounded and fuel ran dangerously low, but Neil stayed calm, took manual control, and guided the lunar module to a safe place. A few hours later, he climbed down the ladder. He placed his foot on the moon and said words that became part of history. "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." Neil walked on the moon for over 2 hours, leaving footprints that still remain today. After the mission, he lived a quiet life, teaching and helping others. He passed away in 2012, but his journey continues to inspire the world.